South Africa is grappling with electricity crisis that is placing immense pressure on households, businesses, and communities. Today, we are diving deep into why your electricity bill is skyrocketing and what it really means for the future of energy in South Africa. Buckle up, because this story is about more than just power. It's about corruption, inequality, and survival. To know more about this story, stay tuned. Welcome back to the Flower News channel. I'm your host, Boss Robert. I would like to appreciate all those who have shown their support to this channel by subscribing and watching our content. Thank you very much. To those who haven't yet subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Please click the subscribe button and show your brother some love. Back to the story. Did you know that South Africa's electricity prices have risen a shocking 356% between 2007 and 2017? That's right, we are paying more for electricity than ever before, at an average of R3.30 per kilowatt hour. To put this into perspective, South Africa's prices are higher than those in neighboring countries like Botswana and Eswatini. Guess what? South Africa is a key supplier to these countries, and yet their electricity cost is lower than South Africa's. How can South Africa, which produces electricity, have higher prices than Botswana and Eswatini, who get their electricity from South Africa? Somehow, the math is not mathing. If you have an answer for this, please let me know in the comment section below. And with Eskom promise 36% tariff increase set for April 2025, the average monthly bill for households consuming 800 kilowatt hour could hit 4,000, nearly 3,000 more than in 2010. Let us hear some comments from energy experts on this matter.
We actually suggested, along with this process, 3 specific things that Eskom could do to avoid doing a tariff increase. The first one was cutting down on staff. Eskom is estimated to be overstaffed by around 66%, according to My Broadband. They also need better coal procurement. That's our second suggestion. We know that coal procurement is still losing a lot of coal to theft and corruption on a year-on-year basis. And the third one, which I think really needs to be seriously interrogated, is green bonds. So Eskom can get involved in the green bond market, selling green bonds internationally. South Africa already has very good regulation around green bonds and green credits for how good these renewable energies are for the environment. There's some money to be made there, and it should not be put on the consumer. A 36% price increase is untenable in the current economy, especially when since 2008, Eskom has increased prices by about 450%. It's an insane number. I cannot believe it. In 2023, it was 18, when inflation was only about 5.9. In 2024, they increased it by 12%, when inflation was only 4.9. So really, it's unjustifiable where these price increases are coming from, and they need to improve their efficiencies first and foremost.
Welcome back. Let's go back to one of our top stories for today. The Minister of Electricity, Hosiensu Ramokgopa, says the cost of electricity is an economic problem that needs to be solved. This as Eskom has applied for a massive electricity tariff increase of 57.06% for the financial years 2025 to 2027. And for some analysis now on this, we are joined by Mthunzi Lutuli, energy expert. He joins us now via our video link. Mthunzi, thank you so much for your time once again this evening here on SABC News. Now, just looking at that statement and looking at the application of a 57.06% tariff increase, that's a major increase application.
Good evening and Merry Christmas to you, Mbali, and to the viewers. Yes, it's a very, very big increase. And what makes it worse is that it comes on top of many previous increases in the last few years. And so this is definitely unaffordable. And it certainly also it's not in line with many of the country's objectives. For instance, we say that we need to industrialize or reindustrialize our economy. Now, if you're going to reindustrialize, you need affordable electricity. Otherwise, you won't attract investments, people to build factories and things like that. And so this will have another negative impact when it comes to industrialization, which means that our economy won't grow, which means we won't solve the unemployment problem. So it's got all of these ripple effects in business and in society in general.
I mean, Mtunzi, South Africans are already complaining about the cost of electricity and keeping the lights on in your household. How you speak about affordability, and that's the first thing that comes to mind. How will South Africans afford this major electricity tariff increase, should it even be approved?
Very few South Africans will be able to afford this. My view is that the minister has to intervene. Eskom is being, in my view, just ridiculous. Since since about 2008 or so, electricity prices have gone up by 800%. 800%. If you look at other international prices in other countries, within BRICS, for instance, we already have the most electricity, the most expensive electricity prices. Okay, most expensive electricity. If you look at other countries in the world, our electricity costs are higher, or prices are higher than Norway, and they are equal to the United States. And yet we are a third world country. The United States is a first world country, and yet the prices are equal. It's a crazy situation. We simply cannot. South Africans simply cannot afford this increase. And so I think that the minister or the president will have to intervene in this situation.
Yeah.
If you look at our Gini coefficient, which is a measure of poverty in countries, South Africa is one of the most impoverished countries in the world, or having one of the biggest divides between the rich and the poor. This is only going to worsen that divide. And I think it was really well said in that interview that was stated just before I started speaking. They're inviting NERSA to come out to the community because they know for a fact that government officials don't understand how the typical South African lives, how a South African without money or living below the breadline, how they live their lives. So I completely agree. The ripple effect will be devastating. We're going to see more inflation. We're going to see less affordability, more poverty. It's going to be a disaster for the country, honestly. We need to see subsidies for low-income homes.
So, what's behind these eye-watering increases? Eskom claims it's all about cost-reflective pricing. But let's take a closer look. Their 2024 financial report tells a story of systemic inefficiencies, corruption, and years of mismanagement. Whilst Eskom pre-tax loss improved to 25.5 billion and operational performance showed signs of recovery, they also reported a massive 55 billion post-tax loss. Why? Structural reforms, runaway debt, and wait for it, 238,000 allegedly spent on a single mob, and 80,000 allegedly spent on knee guards. You heard that right. Are they made of gold and diamond? You tell me. Meanwhile, as electricity prices soar and wealthier households and businesses are turning to renewable energy, solar power now makes up 10% of South Africa's national grid capacity. But while this shift helps some escape from Eskom clutches, it's leaving low-income families behind. They are stuck paying inflated bills and enduring unreliable power while watching their wealthier neighbors go off-grid. It's a tale of two energy realities, and the gap is widening. Here is another bombshell. Back in 2006, Eskom cost to produce 1 gigawatt hour of electricity, which is 1 million kilowatt of electricity, was just 150,000 rands. By 2023, that number had exploded to 1.5 million rands. Adjusted for inflation, it should only cost around 380,000. What happened? Corruption, inflated procurement deals, catastrophic mismanagement, like the overpriced Medupi and Kosile power stations. If Eskom had been run efficiently, we would be paying about 80% less for electricity today. What is the impact? The outlook is devastating. Families can barely afford basic electricity. Businesses are buckling under operational cost, and food prices are climbing. Think about this. A loaf of bread that cost about 8 rand in 2009 now cost about 22 rands in 2024. This feedback loop of rising living cost and unreliable power is crushing millions of South Africans. Many may say, but the power availability factor has improved. We have more than 250 days without load shedding. Though this may be true, but it is not a reality for all. Let us watch the following video for more context on this matter.
The Minister of Electricity, Soaring, says Eskom has achieved the longest stretch of no load shedding for the first time this year in over 5 years. This as the power utility records 272 days of not implementing load shedding since March this year. Ramagopa says this is the first step for the power utility's quest to end load shedding, which will in turn improve economic activity in the country. However, the power utility is faced with an uproar from South Africans who have expressed their struggles with the high cost of electricity. Some community members from Dobsonville, Soweto, have gone to the megawatt park to demand electricity after they were left with no power for over 5 months.
It's 8 months that we don't have electricity. So we've got people who are sick, those who are asthmatic, like the one that you see with the machine. It's a problem. Another thing, we spend a lot of buying gas. We spend a lot buying food at hand because it's every day. It means every day you must go and buy something to eat.
He says it's been a while since they've switched off the lights and can't do anything, which has led to their struggles.
Right now, we spend the
She says right now they are spending a lot of money on gas and buying food on a daily. Meanwhile, Ramagopa says the cost of utilities is a problem that needs to be solved as it pushes people deeper into poverty.
There's a lot of communities who are going to have Black Christmas. But you can go to any township, a retail store, the shelves are full. They just don't have the money to afford that. So we don't want to get to that situation on electricity, where the shelves are full, we are generating, but no one can afford that.
But there's another layer to this story. Independent power producers, or IPPs. Critics argue that Eskom rising tariffs under the guise of cost-reflective pricing could be artificially inflated to make IPPs more competitive and profitable. This notion stems from the comments made by Motsepe about the profitability of IPPs in 2009. Let us watch the following video for more context.
Long term, the country, our currency in fact, will have to considerably reduce in value in comparison with where it is now. I don't think a strong currency, long term, is in the best interest of our country. But whatever the exchange rate will be, with respect, I think it's something that must be determined by the market.
Electricity prices are a very growing concern in South Africa. Eskom has now revised its tariff increases to 35% for the next 3 years, and that's from 45% initially, but still a very big blow for industries out there. Do you think that it's viable to have electricity prices at those levels going forward? And what is African Rainbow Minerals going to be doing to try and mitigate that extra cost every year?
There are various initiatives that we've undertaken over the last few months, and I've been exposed as well to various initiatives that the mining industry as a whole is implementing that are aimed at making sure that the increase in the cost of electricity do not have a fundamental impact on profitability or even on the continued sustainability of their businesses. We have for many years had a cost of electricity that was recognized at by global terms to have been very competitive, and without a doubt the new increases have compelled all of us to go back and to review. But over the years there's been some discussions about introducing competitors to Eskom, and in many parts of the world you do have these independent power producers. I don't know at this stage as to how competitive, and in fact the information I received in the past was that because Eskom was so cheap, it was unattractive for independent power producers to enter into the market. But we have to look at the cost of electricity and mitigate those expenses as best we can, and we will do that.
Copenhagen is currently underway, and South Africa has pledged to cut back on its carbon emissions by 42% by 2025. Do you think that South Africa is capable of...
Ironically, in 2019, thereabout, Motsepe's company, Africa Rainbow Energy and Power, was allegedly implicated in a tender scandal. Let us watch the following video for more context.
The founder and chairman of African Rainbow Energy and Power, Dr. Petrus Motsepe, has rubbished claims that his company received preferential treatment from government on renewable power projects.
Motsepe held a media briefing where he clarified that the contract received was through a private company and in competitive bidding processes. Two of Patrice Motsepe's sisters are married to President Cyril Ramaphosa and the Minister of Energy, Jeff Radebe. It is these relationships with both the President and the Minister that have cast suspicion about the Arab contracts, and that's the name of his company.
Arab says it committed 400 million rands of its own money to the projects. The company's total equity value of current renewable energy projects is 800 million.
We understand we are living at a time when it's elections and lots of issues are going to be said, but we're a democracy. And even if I didn't have these relatives in government, I have a fundamental duty and an obligation not just to be transparent, but also to be ethical and accountable.
As this was not enough, in 2021, a News 24 article reported that Patrice Motsepe's energy firm is involved in half of all the latest approved green power projects, raising more questions than answers. Is it a coincidence or is it just something that just happened? I don't know. IPPs were introduced to diversify South Africa's energy mix and promote renewable solutions, but the perception remains that their integration has disproportionately burdened consumers. As Eskom struggles with inefficiencies and inflated costs, these tariff hikes seem to benefit IPPs at the expense of the public. While IPPs have brought much needed renewable energy to the grid, they have also highlighted the inequality in energy access. Wealthier consumers can adopt these solutions, but many low-income households remain tied to Eskom's expensive and unreliable service. The challenge now is ensuring that energy reform balance affordability, sustainability, and accessibility for all. But there is hope. The growing adoption of solar and renewable energy points to a brighter and cleaner future. However, we need systemic reforms to make energy access equitable. That means fixing Eskom inefficiencies, holding corrupt officials accountable, and ensuring transparent policies that don't punish ordinary citizens for the benefit of the powerful. This is a complex situation that requires collaboration from various stakeholders to come up with sustainable solutions that do not only benefit the rich but also accommodate even the poorest. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insights on the issues that matter most to you. Together, we can spark a brighter future. Thank you for watching. See you on the next video. God bless you.